What is happening, everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day today. I am very excited about today's video, which I probably say all the time, but especially today because we're going to be installing a mod that I was supposed to install about a month ago, but unfortunately it just didn't work out, and so we had to ship it back, and now we're receiving the new product, so hopefully this product actually works. Today's installation video is the Fasty's Garage illuminated headlight tubes. Now, if you don't know what those are, I will put a link in the description below so you can check out the product. I believe it's like RGB illuminated headlight tubes, and so what those are is, if you recall, on the Hellcat you have a hole that goes through the headlight housing into like an air filter, and so it provides more airflow. Well, every single Challenger after 2015 has this little plug in the headlight housing that you can actually pop out, and you can do the exact same thing on your car. They actually sell different air intakes and setups that you can do for any vehicle that's not a Hellcat. Well, what I'm going to be doing is popping out that little cap, but instead of installing an air filter, I'm going to install this little headlight tube where I can control the colors with an app, and it's going to look really cool when I'm driving down the road because that inner tube is going to be lit up. I've never done the installation aside from when I tried it about a month ago, but I'm going to be giving you kind of a how-to video, a little bit of a voiceover. I don't think it's very hard. I almost completed it 90% last time before I had to pretty much put everything back together because it didn't work. And if you're interested, be sure to look at the link in the description below and get your own product. Now, I'm not sponsoring them or anything like that. I just figured I saw them on the website and I figured I'd give it a shot. Also, be sure to check out the last video mod that I uploaded. So not the last video, but the video before that, where I did a really cool mod for my muffler, and now my car sounds amazing and glorious. I replaced it with the Dynomax race bullets. So if you're curious about that, be sure to go back to that video. I'll try to link it in the description as well, so you can check out the latest mod I did, but I'm very excited about today's mod. Big shout out to my dad. He's going to be helping me with the installation because it's it's a one-person job, but it helps to have two people so that somebody can hold the camera if you're filming it, or just hold a part while you're doing the installation. So huge thanks to him, but let's get started. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is obviously make sure that everything works correctly. The way you do that is plug in everything out of the box and wire it directly to the positive and the ground of the vehicle. When we did this a few weeks ago, the white color that you're seeing on the screen right now was actually a little bit different for both tubes, and unfortunately we were not able to reconcile that, so we had to ship it back and get a brand new product. You're just going to want to make sure that all the colors work and everything is up to your standards because you don't want to waste any time and effort before you do the entire install. Now, once everything looks good, you're going to want to unplug all the wires and start by removing the plastic paneling that sits above the headlight housing. This is going to give you access to your work area. It's really easy to remove. They're just body clips. There's no screws or bolts to loosen up, so it should be pretty easy to get those out. Once you do that, you're going to want to remove the air filter, especially if you have the shaker option. They're pretty easy to do. You simply push on these pins. There's two of them, and they hold a hose that attaches to the air filter. Once those are out, you're going to want to loosen up the one bolt that holds the air filter to the frame of the vehicle. This is going to open up your work area so you can fit the tube to the headlight. You're simply going to wiggle it out and pretty much rest it on top of the metal frame. Once that's done, you're going to want to remove those plastic caps that cover the hole for the headlight housing, and simply you push in on the 3 pins on one side and the entire plastic cap should come out. And you're going to want to do that to both sides, unless of course you have a Hellcat where one of those plastic caps has already been removed. There are 3 pins, just make sure you push in on all 3 of them. Now, once you do that, you're going to want to make sure the area is very clean because any dirt can easily scratch the illuminated tubes and ruin your entire effect and all of your money. So just make sure the area is very clean. I used rubbing alcohol, but feel free to use whatever solution works for you. After we cleaned the housings, we decided to plug the illuminated tubes into their sockets to make sure that everything fits correctly and looks all right. This was simply a test fitting. We did not remove the adhesive. This was just to see if everything looks right in its natural spot. Now, similar to the first step, you're just going to plug all the wires in together, and you're going to wire the terminals directly to the ground and the positive battery cable. Now, if everything looks good and you're ready to proceed, then you can go ahead and remove the plastic film over the adhesive and push the illuminated tubes into their final position. Now, a huge footnote, because it's a very important step. If you happen to have some sort of logo on your illuminated tubes, make sure they are in the correct position of where you want them to be before you push everything into its final spot. Because once it's in its final position, it's going to be very hard to push it out and fix the problem. Once that is done, you're going to want to hide some of those wires. The spot that we chose for the wires is above the radiator and below that frame that you see on the screen. There is quite a bit of space there where you can easily feed the wires through and hide them. Any excess wiring that you have, I would definitely recommend zip tying it to the frame of the vehicle. That way you don't have any type of loose wires near the radiator. Although there are no moving parts in that section that's on the screen, you just want to make sure that nothing can fly out and cause any type of issues. So we ended up zip tying everything directly to the frame, and in either case it's going to be covered by a black plastic, so it doesn't matter, nobody's going to see that area, so it's just for your security. Once that's done, we decided to put back the air filter since it was no longer necessary to have that work area, and it was simple to just put it back in. We used those 2 original pins that hold the hose directly towards the air filter, and then there's 1 bolt to secure the air filter to the frame. Now, the next step will be to wire everything into the vehicle. We started with the ground connection, where we use this exposed nut that is on every Challenger. You can simply put the negative terminal from the wiring underneath it and then tighten the bolt on top, but you're welcome to use any type of unpainted or exposed metal for your secure ground connection. Now, next we focused on the positive cable and providing the power necessary to get the tubes to work. We unplugged the headlight wiring from the headlight unit by simply pushing on that black tab on the top and pulling the wiring from its socket. Now, this next step is very important. You're going to want to make sure you choose the correct port to plug your wire into. In this case, we chose port number 2, as you can see by the red circle, which was the wiring for the low beam headlights. I wanted to make sure that my illuminated tubes would turn on whenever my headlights were on. So that's why I plugged into that second wire. Now, I will include a link in the description below to a website that will give you the Dodge Challenger wiring diagram, so you can choose whatever wire you want for your scenario. We ended up using these quick snap connectors, which I don't particularly like, but they worked well in this case. Now, for the positive cable, we ended up cutting off the end so that it wouldn't get in the way, and we simply just plugged the wire into that quick snap connector, and we used pliers to secure our connection and tighten everything in to its final position. Now, after that is done, you can go ahead and plug the headlight wiring back into its housing, into the headlight, and you can fire it up. And that is it, folks. After everything is done, I checked to make sure everything was working correctly. I went through a few different colors, and everything looked fantastic. The last step was to simply zip tie any excess wires that were left, make sure that they were not in the way of any moving parts. In this case, we had some extra wires that were near the battery terminals, and so we used the zip tie to tighten those against the frame. Now, once that's done, you can go ahead and put back the plastic paneling above the headlight housing, and you are finished. Ultimately, I really like this product. I think it turned out really well. The app works seamlessly, and so does the product. And although there were some hiccups with the first product I received from Fasty's Garage, they were able to send a second one, and it worked perfectly fine. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully we provided some new information for you and you're able to do the install yourself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and find me on Instagram at Shwazy_. Until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.